Hi, welcome to Box on the Box, Rock and Celluloid, Botback for short. I'm over Box, so doing a TV recall today. I'm just going to have a look at Blake 7, one of my favourite shows when I was growing up. So this actually premiered on January 2nd, 1978, the same day I think Star Wars opened in the UK. And its final episode was December 21st, 1981. So this is one of those shows where I actually kind of watched it in real time. You know, it wasn't a show that I kind of discovered later or came back to episodes. I watched every episode as it happened. And the one that was right before Christmas 1981 was like, a real amazing childhood memory, which I'll come to. So basically the plot of this is you've got a bunch of criminals who are kind of imprisoned by the Federation, who are very draconian, far right, evil empire, shall we say. They escape from prison, steal a ship called the Liberator, and form a kind of band of rebels to fight the Federation. They're led by Rog Blake, played by Gareth Thomas, and then his kind of nemesis in the ship, the yin to his yang, is Kurt Avon. Avon, played by Paul Darrow, who's probably like the star of the show, really. You got Villa Restal, who's a thief, played by Michael Keating, Jenna Stevens, Sally Nivette. Smuggler Callie, played by Jan Chappell, who's an alien guerrilla fighter and can use telepathy. And later on you had Dana, Melanie, played by Josette Simon, Del Tarrant, played by Stephen Pacey, Ola Gann, played by David Jackson in Series 1 and 2, kind of gentle giant guy. And then later on you had Sue Lynn for Series 4, played by Glynis Barber. Yes. And then you had three computers, Aurak and Zen, and then a computer called Slave Zen, and Slave was voiced by Peter Tudham, and he voiced Aurak as well later on. So, and then there's Servalan, played by Jacqueline Pierce, who's the Federation Supreme Commander, and then her second in command, Travis, played by Stephen Grief, and then Brian Croucher. So you had a kind of different cast members coming in. Cool logo. We should get it out of the way, like, when you're a little kid you're not bothered about these things, but the production values of Blake 7 were really shit. So, Doctor Who sporadically went to quarries. Blake 7 went to a quarry virtually every episode. The models, there's a guy called Matt Irving, did all the model work for Blake 7. He was regularly on Blue Peter showing you how he did it. That kind of thing. And typically it was like, Matt, there's some black cardboard and there's a washing up liquid bottle, make a spaceship, and then he'd point dots on and then, move it across the screen on a piece of string. I distinctly remember on Blue Peter they have teleport. They teleport in Blake 7. Not transport, teleport. Villa, I need teleport. That's their version of the Star Trek thing. They had these bracelets and actually made one out of a fairy liquid bottle on Blue Peter and painted it brown. And use, licorice, all sorts of something for the switches. Pardon me. But it's brilliant. A fun show. And really, the Blake character is kind of like the idealist. He's a freedom fighter. He believes in his cause. And Avon's a kind of cynicist who doesn't believe in idealism. And that's one of the initial conflicts in the early part of the series. The other thing is like Villa's a thief, Jenna's been a smuggler. There have been criminals, and yeah, it's that thing, who's the bad guy, But anyway, it was Terry Nation was the creator who did create the Daleks. And 52 episodes, 3 series. I have not watched this for a long time. I had the DVD box set to watch those a couple of times. I obviously saw the show back in the then videos. But I haven't watched it for a while, so I'm pretty fuzzy. But the first series is very strong, pretty much. One of the good things about the first series is each episode kind of moves it on and puts all the chess pieces in place. So you got the way back, Rog Blake had been a resistance leader against the Totalitarian Federation that murdered his family. He's imprisoned. And there's Spacefall, he's introduced to Avon in that. Avon's technical prowess enabled him to steal $5 million credits from the Federation banking system. He didn't get away with it, but he's very clever. Very clever, the people, and cunning. So the first 2 episodes are good. You got Cygnus Alpha, they get introduced to Jenna in that. And I think Gann hangs out. Yeah, Gann appears in space for episode 2. They nick the Liberator. and Callie's introduced in episode 4, Jan Chappell's character. And then you've got the crew together, and then you've got the Zen, the computer on the ship, the Liberator. So strong first series, actually all written by Terry Nation. And the final episode is Aurak. So Aurak is this mega supercomputer that can solve amazing mathematical problems. It can give like probabilities on survival and stuff like that. And they obtain Aurak in the final episode of series 1. So it finishes really positively and on the way up. Series 2 strong. This is where Gan dies in episode 5, so I remember being quite sad about that. He gets kind of crushed in some kind of he's killed during an escape from somewhere, and that was kind of strange because that's like, the main character's died, and it's like that Blake 7, no one was safe really. Again, this is a good series. Gambit's good. They got Freedom City, one of the last places not under Russian Federation control. So they do gambling there. They take Aurak, and Aurak helps them win. And it's kind of like, like when they go gambling in Rain Man, or they go to the shit casino in The Last Jedi. But that's a good episode. You got Star One, which is it's a location where the Federation, it's kind of like the Death Star or something. This is the last appearance of Gareth Thomas as Roger Blake and Sally Nivette as Jenna Stannis. So Brian Crouch as Travis too as well. But it's kind of weird that it's Blake 7. That was always weird to me, how it's called Blake 7, it's not Blake in it. And then Avon, Paul Darrow's character, really takes over as the star. And then it gets, more interesting in a way. Avon's an amazing character, and his relationship with Villa's really cool. And Villa's a coward as well, this guy's not a hero. So series 3 kind of follows that, and the top episode, I like Sarcophagus, that's a cool episode. But my favourite episode is Rumours of Death, which is episode 8 of series 3, and this is Avon gets word that his ex-girlfriend, lover, who he thought died in custody, been tortured by the Federation and has survived. But it's all a ruse. She's actually played him. She betrays him, and he's gutted, Kirk style. When he goes back, he says, "Rumours of my death have been greatly exaggerated," something like that. Really good. And so the end of Terminal, last episode, a lot of shit goes down. It's the last appearance by Callie. She I think she dies. You hear her voice from kind of down a shaft. And then the Liberator gets destroyed. So this is really controversial, So what happens is they get rescued by a ship called the Scorpio, and that's when Glynis Barber, characters introduce Sue Lin. And that's a good episode, Rescue, and then Power. And then, they take the Scorpio, that becomes a new ship. And then the series kind of takes a dive. A lot of people kind of think series 4's poor, the Blake 7. It's quite interesting, I'm just looking at every single title is a one-word title. And they're quite heavy metal titles, actually. You've got Power, Traitor, Star Drive, Animals, Headhunter, Assassin. Anyway, so it's fairly patchy. A lot of the introduction of Sue Lin's good, but the last episode is an all-time classic. It's Blake, so this sees the reappearance of the Roger Blake character, and what's happened. He's scarred, and he's changed. His idealism, in pursuit of his idealism, he's been compromised. Really, I think, and he's lost his way. And there's a classic line where Villa says, I'm sorry, Avon says, Blake, you betray us. You just can't believe that Blake would betray him. And I'm not sure Blake has. He says, I waited for you, Avon. Maybe Blake's got a plan, but Avon's so paranoid. He shoots him, and then there's a big shootout in slow motion, and everyone dies, but then you hear kind of laugh at the end. Avon's cackle, maybe he survived. But that was really extraordinary at the time. It was 5 days before Christmas, 4 days. My parents, their bedroom, they had a small black and white TV in there, and they were watching something else. I said, can I go and watch Blake 7? And you know, I just sat on their bed and watched it. It was totally gripping. You know, it never happened before on a TV show where all the main characters die, and it just finished so bleakly. But they kind of got in a blaze of glory, kind of like Butch and Sundance, I suppose. But yeah, it says here like not realising Blake is simply testing his loyalty. Yeah. So it's that thing like Blake's kind of, you know, playing a game. So he doesn't trust them. You know, it's sad, really. So yeah, that was it. The cast of Blake 7 didn't really go on. It was a mixed bag. I mean, Glynis Barber went on to do Dempsey and Makepeace. I mean, you know, she's an amazing looking woman, and she was perfect for the 80s. She's a good actress. Josette Simon, Dana Mellenby, she had a great career actually, a great Shakespearean actress, and you don't see her on TV much, but she did really well, and she was very young. She was picked straight from drama school actually, you know, when she was there. You don't really see Stephen Pacey or Michael Keating much. You know, a lot of the acting was pretty rope in Blake 7. Michael Keating, villa's not great. Paul Darrow, you know, he's in an episode of Hammer House of Horror. He's sadly passed away now, but he got some voiceover gigs in a few things. But it's quite right, the acting you sort of felt with Sally Nevette was in Emmerdale. Apologies. It was quite right, the acting in Blake. So you got the expression, there's a lot of kind of out of work Shakespearean actors that kind of didn't realise they're making a TV show. Actually, Colin Baker, the Doctor Who Sixth Doctor, turns up and won City at the Edge. Is it Baben? He plays, City at the Edge of the World, and he does some really ripe acting. So anyway, yeah, that's Blake 7. In spite of its ropey acting, in spite of its bad sets, it had a hold on our generation. It is a good show. There's enough interesting ideas on that about idealism, heroism, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, you know, what you're fighting for type things, that you could do a remake of this with modern budgets and, you know, have some really interesting. And also it had strong female characters, Servalan, Jenna, Callie, Dana. You know, it wasn't one of those things, I need to cast more women. Or, you know, I mean, diversity, yeah, you could do more of that now. Dana's played by a black actress, but, you know, it had some cool ideas, and I loved it. So there we go, that's Blake 7. Thanks very much for checking out. Remember to share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.